All right, guys, final analysis about the Kel-Tec PMR30. If you watch my other videos first, you'll know that I have had a very problematic relationship with this gun. It was fixed. It's been running reliably ever since. I understand why some people hate it. I also understand why some people are very devoted to it. So what else can I say about this gun? Well, we've talked about the potential use of it as a defensive weapon. And for me, ever since the repair, it's been 100% reliable. So what I want to do today, because I am nearing 1,000 rounds fired through this gun, I want to celebrate the 1,000 rounds fired with some accuracy testing today on Max Headspace 9mm. All right, 25 yards away, right there, is my metal silhouette target. So, we've got some nice fiber optic sights, decent sight radius, a nice flat shooting fast cartridge. This should be a really good target pistol, right? Let's find out. That was too easy. Let's move back. Here we are at 40 yards. The target is right there. Let's try it again. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but so far I haven't missed. It's hit every single time, so let's move back. 50 yards with the Kel-Tec PMR30. The target is right there. Let's see if I can hit it. Hit. 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 I don't know if you can hear that. If I was hitting that with a 9mm, it'd be ringing like a bell. This tiny little 40 grain round, it barely makes a little tinky sound, but it is hitting. So far, it's been dead on, accurate, reliable, and we're nearing 1,000 rounds. Let's move back. 60 yards with the Kel-Tec PMR30. Miss. Out of ammo. So far, 2 misses. And this is the magazine that makes 1,000 rounds. Miss. Hit. Miss. Hit. Miss. 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 I hit it a couple times. Mostly I'm missing at this point. That's a little better than I would do with my Glock 17, actually. I have some 9mm target pistols that I think would actually give this little 22 Magnum a run for its money. But it's surprisingly accurate. It's set up for distance shooting, and it's very comfortable to shoot at distance. The problem I'm having right now is that the front sight post completely obscures my target, so I have to start at the bottom of the target and then move up slightly and pull the trigger. So I'm just going to empty this mag, because if we get through this mag without any hiccups, that's 1,000 rounds. There it is, 1,000 rounds. Okay guys, here it is, final analysis time. You've seen me document my experience with this gun from the very first shots until the most recent shots. I have showed you every bit of experience I've had with this. The very first video was troubleshooting the Kel-Tec PMR30. That was the very first shots that I had ever fired with this gun. And if you go back and watch that video, you'll see some of the problems that I had. Now, I got to explain to you that from the very start, I was really intrigued by this thing. Any handgun that has a flush mag that will hold 30 rounds of anything, I'm going to be interested in. I got to tell you that. But, Kel-Tec, I'd never had a Kel-Tec before. And in my mind and in the mind of a lot of people, Kel-Tecs are economy guns. They're not what you'd call reliable, high-quality self-defense firearms. Some of them have phenomenal reliability. They have a lot of really incredible designs that are very unique, really intriguing ingenuity in their designs. But this reputation of being unreliable and cheap and bottom feeder guns, it plagues them, I'll tell you that much. And so I shied away from buying this for years. Well, finally, when an opportunity came up to get one of these really cheap, because a guy I knew was having a lot of trouble with it, and I figured, well, what have I got to lose? Maybe I can fix this thing. I jumped on it. Now, you saw the first shots in my video troubleshooting. And then I did everything I could think of. Everything that I've ever pulled out of my bag of tricks to try to make an unreliable gun work better, I tried. And I'll tell you, I never got anywhere with this. The best mag I ever fired out of this gun was in that video where I only had one failure in an entire magazine. Most of the time, 2, 3, 4, 5 failures in a single magazine. So I was beginning to think, it's a waste of time buying this, and I could see why Kel-Tec had the unfavorable reputation that they have. But after I tried everything, I called Kel-Tec. They were great. They said, send it in, let us have a look. Well, 2 months later, I got it back. And I recorded the very first shots with it that I took after getting it back from the factory. That video is called Kel-Tec PMR30 100% reliable. Go back and watch it if you're interested. Now, that very day that I took that video, I shot 5 or 6 magazines through this gun, and it worked perfectly. So I was starting to get excited. So as I promised, I was going to put 1,000 rounds through the gun and give you guys my analysis. Well, as you just saw in the most recent video, this gun has run 1,000 rounds without one single reliability issue. It has been 100% perfect. Now, some of you guys are screaming right now, I know that, because there are people that talk to me all the time, and they say there is no way that rimfire is reliable. And I'm here to tell you that in my experience, when you buy quality ammunition, it is every bit as reliable as centerfire ammunition. And not only that, but that Kel-Tec, when the gun is put together correctly, can be a reliable firearm. Now, what Kel-Tec did at the factory when I sent it back, what I determined was they sent me a gun with a new slide and barrel. So something must have been out of spec. And I got to tell you, Kel-Tec has been plagued by these quality control issues for years. And I can't understand why in the world they can't get their act together. If they could just produce quality, consistent firearms, they could just about double the price for something like this. I mean, seriously, if this had HK on it, or FN, or some other, quality brand, people would be paying $1,000 for something like this. I guarantee it. So that is why I have it sitting here on the table, because I know some of you guys are saying, oh, Kel-Tec doesn't even belong in the same conversation as Glock. Well, let me tell you a little story. Quite a number of years ago, this gun emerged on the scene.
And a lot of people thought, oh, that's ugly. And a plastic gun, who wants that? Back in the day when everybody was shooting revolvers in 1911s, this thing was a hideous monstrosity, and nobody wanted to like it. But the fact that it shot a magazine that held 17 rounds, when, most guns were single stack that were semi-autos back then, so maybe 7 rounds, or revolvers that shoot 5 rounds, 17 rounds. Pretty hard to ignore that. A gun that's lighter, a gun that's as reliable as a revolver. Didn't take long for people to begin to get the idea that, hey, there's something here. Fast forward, look at this. If it weren't for the fact that so many people have bad experiences with these, this gun would be the same legend. I'm telling you. You've got a lighter round. See, most of the people back in the day when this came out were shooting 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum, 45 ACP, and the idea of 9mm, it probably seemed like, oh man, that's hardly even worth bothering with. That's not going to stop anybody. Well, we've learned since then that stopping power is a myth. It's something we don't really talk about that much anymore because we know it's not true. And the idea of having high capacity in a nice, accurate round that's easy to manage is more important than having stopping power. Fast forward another 30 years to this gun. I'm here to tell you right now, I think that this is the future of firearms. And I know some of you guys are screaming, but maybe I'm a prophet. We'll see in 30 years if this has the same impact as this. If it does not, it's going to be that other guns take the place of this that have a more reliable reputation. But if Kel-Tec can get their act together, even if they have to charge $100, $200 more for this, and get these out the door reliably so that they work when they come out of the box and they work as reliably as they have for me since I got it back from the factory, I guarantee this gun will do the same thing as this gun did. And people will view Kel-Tec in a different way. The question is up to Kel-Tec. Are they going to do what they have to make that happen? So let's compare these guns. They are virtually the same exact size. If you can carry this, you can carry this more easily. From dimensions, I'll tell you, they're identical. Just about every measurement except one. Weight. This gun is almost half the weight of this gun, which is why I think this is more carryable. You've got plenty of rail space for lights and lasers. You've got a built-in spot up here if you should want some kind of a red dot, a micro dot on here. And the trigger is really quite good. I was really surprised at the trigger on this has about the same pull weight as the Glock. It's a very nice trigger. It's a good target trigger. And I really enjoyed shooting it. This has better sights than this. And it has a safety, which isn't anything for me. I don't like safeties on a carry gun because I concealed carry. And I don't like the idea that this could rub against me and move and I not know it. So for me, this isn't a plus, but for some people it is. So the only thing I can think of that people might not like about this gun is how the magazine release is. So yeah, this takes a little getting used to, but I'll tell you, after 1,000 rounds, this is nothing. This is really quite easy for me because, when you're reaching up here to take the mag out anyway, it's a really nice place that you find your thumb going anyway. So it's actually pretty nice. And I can tell you that this box of ammo is about half the weight of this box of ammo. So when you start thinking about being able to carry a gun like this, being nearly half the weight of this gun and holding nearly double the rounds, it's really intriguing, the thought of this possibly being a self-defense firearm. Now that I've said that, some of you people are saying, well, there's no way I'd trust my life to 22 Magnum. Listen, we know statistically most encounters with firearms take less than 2 shots. I'm not suggesting anything like knockdown power with this. I'm suggesting you shoot until the threat goes away. That might take 5 shots, but I guarantee you 4 or 5 shots of 22 Magnum will do everything that 1 or 2 shots of 9mm will do. And if you looked at my most recent video before this one, the PMR30 penetration test, you will see that 22 Magnum out of this gun is no slouch. So, what am I saying? We're looking at a gun that is remarkably easy to carry. It's one of the most unusual guns, and I don't think people really know how to take this gun. It's made mostly of plastic. Remember this? In fact, it's made so much of plastic, most people don't even know what to make of it. It looks more like a toy. Some people don't like the fact that it's made out of 2 pieces of plastic held together with screws. That doesn't bother me at all. If they can find a cheaper way to do it, great, as long as it doesn't compromise its quality. The slide itself doesn't have a whole lot going for it. It's really just a little bit of metal. And it is a little harder to take apart than the Glock. One thing I don't like about it, nothing wrong with this spring. It's a captured spring. That's just fine. It's got 2 little pieces you got to keep track of. I love field stripping this because I can do it really, really fast. It's super quick and easy. You check it, dry fire it, pull this back, this comes out, and that comes out. So I'm going to tell you right now that the Glock wins the day when it comes to field stripping. I love field stripping the Glock. It's a great gun for that reason. This one is a little tougher. You've got 2 little parts that can get lost. And frankly, that's what I don't like about the 1911. I don't like the takedown pin on the 1911 and how it can get lost. This little thing right here is an extra weight that allows for a variety of different pressures to work on this. It slides slightly independently of the barrel, and you move it forward and that comes out and your barrel comes out. So, I haven't been particularly careful with this gun. You talk about things like, lubrication and so forth. It's not really that big of a deal. I haven't lubricated it any more carefully than any of my other firearms. It's just what it is. It's an easy gun to do when you are used to it. And you can get the spring backwards in here, as I just did. Because both ends look very similar. There's not much difference between them. But, I'll tell you, and you can reverse this. You can have this pin go in either way. It doesn't matter, it's reversible. But once you get used to this thing, it's really not that hard to field strip. Okay, so here's the question. Would I feel safe carrying this for self-protection? If I hadn't shot 1,000 rounds flawlessly, I never would have believed it. I never would have believed after that first day making that video troubleshooting the Kel-Tec PMR30, I never would have thought that this would be a gun that I would consider reliable. But now I do. I am going to carry this. Not everywhere. I'm still going to carry my Glock 26 most of the time because it's slightly smaller. But in the wintertime, when I can get away with carrying a full-size gun like this, I absolutely will carry this gun. And I absolutely will feel protected with 30 rounds of 22 Magnum in a Kel-Tec. And I never thought I would say that. Now, I know there's some of you people that are going to go absolutely bananas with me saying that. Go ahead and let's talk about it in the comments. But I have to tell you, this gun has proven itself to me. And I never thought I would say that about a Kel-Tec. So let's hear what you think. This is Max Headspace 9mm. Have a good one.